So here are the skills needed to solve these final problems on page 3, specifically problems 10, 11, and 12. Again, you need to know your properties of exponents, or your laws of exponents. When you multiply, you add your exponents. When you divide, you subtract your exponents. You also need to know how to solve equations, because these problems are going to have a variable that you're going to need to solve for. So our first example looks like this right here. In this first example, we need to figure out what x is, and we're going to use our properties of exponents to tell us what x is. You need to set up an equation. You need to know what to do in this situation to help you set up an equation. Normally, your laws of exponents would tell you that if you're dividing, you need to do what with your exponents? Subtract. You would subtract, and then you would get this right over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up an equation like this. The reason why? That's what I would normally do. I would normally subtract if I am dividing, and I would get this right over here. I simply solve this equation. To solve an equation, you do the opposite. Opposite of subtracting is adding. Add 4 to both sides. 10 plus 4, 14. So you simply use what you know about exponents, that if I divide, I need to subtract. And normally if I would subtract, I would get this right over here. I would get this exponent. So you're going to do this on all these type of problems. You're going to set up an equation based on what you know about the laws of exponents. So let's look at our next one. Our next one looks like this right here. Again, we need to know what to do when we multiply. Normally, if we multiply, what do we need to do with our exponents? We need to add them. So that's what I'm going to set up. I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to take this exponent plus this exponent is equal to, okay, now I need to know what to do with these exponents in this situation. What do we do with our exponents when we divide? We're supposed to subtract these exponents. 10 minus 5 is 5. This over here should be negative 10 to the 5th power. Now I simply need to solve this equation right here. To solve an equation, you need to do the opposite. Opposite of adding 3 is subtracting 3. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. X is equal to 5 minus 3 is 2. You are simply taking what you know about the laws of exponents to help you set up an equation. This over here just needed to be done. You needed to figure out what negative 10 to the 10th power divided by negative 10 to the 5th power was going to be. It was going to be negative 10 to the 5th power. That's the reason I put a 5 right here. I am just simply looking at my exponents. Since all these bases are the same, that's the only thing I need to look at is my exponents. Let's look at this one. Same thing with this problem. I only need to look at my exponents. All the bases are the same. So let's look right over here. This has a parentheses. This is a power of a power. When you get into one of these type of situations, this is when you can actually multiply exponents. So the only thing I want to worry about on all these problems are my exponents. So let's look at my exponents right over here. In this situation, what can I do with my exponents? I can multiply. X times 2, 2x is equal to, okay, I need to do the exact same thing here. I need to take 10 times 2. 10 times 2 is 20. I need to do what's in the top up here, and then I need to do what I need to do with my exponents when I divide. Once I get one exponent on this base up here, then I can subtract. 20 minus 4 is 16. So the exponent over here, once I do all the work, should have been a 16. That helped me set up my equation. To solve an equation, I need to do the opposite. When there is a number and a variable beside each other, what operation is that? Multiplying. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. I need to divide both sides by 2. X is equal to 8. So that's all the problems on page 3. When you do these type of problems, you set up an equation based on just the exponents. You're using your knowledge of exponents to help you set up an equation.